you're looking for, positivity, or looking for encouragement. To me, a Princeton aims to educate you, to give you the push to believe, to have the mindset for success. Mindset for success. To have the mindset for success. To have the mindset for success.
Coach Tad, can you come up? Amen. Let's take a look. Coach Tad.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. All right. Well, this is my first time coming to your church. It's indeed always a blessing to be able to share with God's people about what God can do for you. I've been in ministry since I was 19 years old. I've been teaching young people since I was 19. I really turned my life over to the Lord when I went off to school at the University of Florida, and things changed forever. Walking with the Lord is nothing like walking with the Lord. He'll help and guide you, lead you and guide you. You know, Grandma and them said it, but when you experience it, you know what I'm talking about. So I've been in financial services for 34 years now. And so I just wanted to share my story, and maybe it'll be a blessing to you. I was so elated with the pastor and first lady sharing. We have the same sentiments about everything. I was like, oh my God. I said, I told to me, I gotta talk to them. Oh God, they good, we good. Because, well, as we share, what God was sharing with me about anything that's going on financially, God wants us to know. He wants us to know that you have to manage and you have to be disciplined. Manage and be disciplined. There's many ways of building wealth. Many ways of building wealth. There's only one way to the Lord, to God, is through Jesus. But there's many ways of building wealth. So you'll hear a lot of different things, and you might want to grab hold to a lot of things, but you got to do what God says to you to do. Because see, what's good for me might not be good for you. Because God might be taking me another way than he's taking you. So you got to be hearing God. Because that's why Jesus came. Jesus came that we might have access to God. The Holy Spirit leads and guides us. He said, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. He didn't say everybody's path, he said your path, if you acknowledge him. Now, we had a question when he was talking about the tithe, and that was beautiful how First Lady said to the young lady, if God's telling you to do that, that's what you do. Amen. That's what you do. So that's what I had to learn. I had to learn how to listen to God. So I started at 19 listening to God. I accepted Christ my personal Savior when I was 8. And then by the time I got to 19, that's when I was converted. I mean, that's when I said, okay, Lord, okay, whatever you want, I'm going to do. So once I started doing that, life started changing for me. So today I want to just share, I wrote a book called Living Beyond Your Paycheck. And in this book, God gave me wisdom of what to do and help families do what they do. I remember, never forget, I was standing in my old house, and I was standing in the kitchen, and I was looking at our backyard, and I saw my book cover here, and then I saw a bloody hand going in the book. And it was a vision. God was saying, I have anointed this book. So he had, from that point on, I was like, okay, Lord, let's go. Yeah. Let's go. And it has been a blessing to so many families. I can't tell you how many families I mean, last year I served 150 families last year, where on an average I was serving maybe 50 families. I did 150 last year. Pastor, this month I served over 33 in 1 month, ministering to them about what we're going to talk about today. Because there's so many of us as Christians, we're missing out on what God has for us, and it's all for us. He did it all for us, but we're missing out. My people perish for what? The lack of knowledge. We got a whole bunch of knowledge this morning. I mean, it's been a blessing. So let's go. If you can go ahead and hit all of them, and we can do that whole page so we know how to do them one at a time. Okay. All right. Now you can go to the next one. You can go on. Next one. All right. You can go ahead and hit the whole thing. Okay. As I said earlier, my story is I graduated from the University of Florida. And I started working part-time as a financial coach because I needed to make some extra money. So I was making the extra money, and because I had to buy my own house, because my dad said, you ain't gonna bring her here, you gotta go get your own house. I said, oh yes, Lord. All right, I'm going to get my own house. So, but I couldn't make enough money. I didn't have enough money to get my own house, so I started working as a financial coach part-time. So I made that extra money, and then I was gonna quit because I thought I was that was it. But God said, no, you gotta go full-time. So I went full-time, and I started earning $100,000. Now, you earn a six-figure, you start saying, oh, praise the Lord, I'm there. Wrong answer. I was trying to out-earn my ignorance. And a lot of people are doing that. You're trying to out-earn your ignorance, and so it seemed like you're never getting forward because I was trying to out-earn my ignorance. So before I wrote the book, as you see on the screen, it says no lunch. I remember a guy coming to my office and say, hey Chad, hey man, let's go eat lunch. I'm like, nah man, I got too much work. I was lying, I ain't had no money. I was broke. We foreclosed that same house I saw the vision in. We foreclosed that house. Wait, hold on, Lord, I'm making $100,000. We went bankrupt. Chapter 13 and 7. I'm like, Lord, why am I going through this? He said, well, how you gonna help somebody you ain't never been nowhere? I said, yes, Lord. So I said, well, he said, you can't suffer with me, you can't reign with me. I said, okay, Lord, all right. So me and my wife, we continued to listen to the Lord, and a friend of ours came by and he said, Chad, you're not managing money. I said, what are you talking about, man? I'm in financial services, I know what I'm doing. He said, you're not managing money. I said, okay. I left it there, and I told my wife what he said. And one day we was just in such a bad spot, and we were riding down the road. My wife said, you remember he told us we weren't managing money? We need to go see him. I said, you for real? She said, yeah, let's go see him. This is my best friend. We knocked on his door at 10 o'clock. Pastor, we left there at 3 o'clock the next morning. The thing that he shared with us was what God wanted me to hear. And it helped and changed our life. And I'm going to show you. Very simple. It changed our life. It changed my life so much. I was so quick. I wrote that book so fast because I knew that, I remember Miles Monroe said the most wealthiest place in the world is in the graveyard. Because you take all those things that God had blessed you with to the grave. Well, when God blessed me and I started becoming financially healthy, and see, we call it, when Paul said, I've been abounding and I've been abased, but I learned to be what? Content. Content means healthy. I was content now because God, not complacent. Now complacent says I'm right where I'm at, this way I'm gonna always be. That's complacent. Content means that I'm satisfied with Jesus and I'm going for more. See, I call it being humble and hungry. You gotta be humble and hungry. So I had to remain humble and hungry. So it changed my life. So I wrote the book. And when I look back after the book, I remember my son having graduation and I was able to pay for everybody that came for the graduation. And I began to think of the goodness of Jesus, of where I came from. Y'all remember the guy said, can we go to lunch? Just one guy, one lunch. And you see what God did. Now, now sometimes we like to say, oh, it's the Lord. No. The Lord wants you to manage and be disciplined, and he blesses you. Now, we be just waiting on a miracle. Just say, waiting on the Lord. When you waiting on that miracle, you get that blessing, and the money just go out of your hand. But I'm going to show you the answer to that one, too. Now, graduation, the other one was we moved in our new home. We built a new home. I started managing discipline. We were able to buy a new home. Then I thank God for the one that I left, because we had to leave that house and we rented for 3 years. We foreclosed the house. Now let me show you how good God is. We was in foreclosure for 10 years. Did y'all hear me? It's God. 10 years I had to get my head together. I didn't pay a mortgage for 10 years. I kept going to the court, and the judge said, where's the lender? He didn't show up. They never showed up. He said, okay, Mr. McKendrick. He said, you still in the house? I said, yeah. He said, bye-bye, see you later. Until it ran out. 10 years it ran out. Because that judge, well, just to give you an idea, that judge went to church with me, because I go to Macedonia and Edenville. He went to church with me. The bailiff, he went to church with me. The clerk, she went to church with me. So they knew my situation. So they were like, see you later. But then the judge got promoted to out, and so a new judge came in. That new judge came in and said, you know you owe them. You know you owe them, so we need to settle up. He said, how long will it take you to get out? He said, do you want to buy it? Well, it was way upside down. I was like, and he looked at me like this. He was trying to tell me, don't you do that, don't you buy that. He said, you want to buy it? I said, no, I don't want to buy it, you know. He said, okay. He said, how many days? I said, give me 90 days. He said, I give you 60. I said, I'll take it. But I was already ready. We had already got our stuff together. So when they said, buy, we said, buy. And we stayed rented for 3 years, and then we went and bought our new home. But that's God because of my discipline. It wasn't God just because he's God, because God can do anything he want to do. But he's looking for us to be faithful and disciplined. Yes. We be faithful and disciplined, he blesses us. So we was faithful and disciplined. Now we're building generational wealth. As Pastor kept talking about, equity in your home, staying at your home, and things right now. God has put us in such a position that we got young adults in our house now. My son, they out of our house. No, they're not in my house. Praise the Lord. Okay, my son has got his master's degree from University of Miami as a marine biologist. My daughter, she's at Georgia State studying to be a speech pathologist. So they're out of the house and they're doing their thing, but we make sure every quarter we're going to sit down and talk about this generational wealth that we have. We're not going to keep it hidden from them. We got to tell them so that they'll know how to handle it when we're gone. So we do that, but not because my mom and daddy didn't do us like that. And their fathers didn't do them like that. I'm just saying that for us, we have to share with our young adults. Now, not the children, the young adults. The young adults need to know if something happens to me, you got to know what to do next. So we share with our children that way. But that's what the book has done, what the strategy I'm teaching have done for families today. All right, this is the first one. First one is, this is a question that I always ask my clients when I serve them. I make sure that they understand this is how I need to know where you are, how healthy you are. And these are 10 questions I ask them. The first question I ask, if you died today, would your family lifestyle change for the better? So now if you can click on lifestyle. Now, what this is called life insurance. This tells you if you need life insurance. Everybody don't need life insurance. As everybody say, you don't need life insurance if you got these things together. Okay? First one it's called a dime. If you have a car note, and that car note, the average car note is $25,000. If you die today, do you want your family to keep the car? If that answer is yes, then you need to put the number on the deed. Okay, hit the next one. The I means that somebody is depending on your income. Someone depending on your income. If you're a single mom and your kids are depending on your income, you need at least 10 times your salary so that your income be replaced. Because when you die, that income not coming no more. I've seen it. The income not coming no more, family's in trouble. Because what we do is we don't look at life insurance as burial. No. These children got to eat. Right? And this is their lifestyle. So you need 10 times your salary. The average salary in America is $26,000. So that's $260,000 just to replace your income. The next one, mortgage. If you have a mortgage, the mortgage needs to be paid off. If you want the house to be paid off and you want your family to have a house, then you need the mortgage. Then you click the next one. Education. Education, if you got 2 kids, little kids that need to go to school, state school costs about $30,000 per child. So you're talking about $60,000 for the child. Now, if yours is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, do you need life insurance? No. But if it is not, then you do. Click the next one. This is what the average family needs, $465,000. But insurance man gonna tell you, okay, get this $50,000 policy, here's a $100,000 policy. I had a guy come in my office, he said, Chad, we ain't gotta go through this. I got $400,000. I said, okay. We did his dime, he need $3.5 million based on what I'm showing here. I said, so that $400,000 just enough to pay your house off, because that's what his house was paid off was, $400,000. His income was $1 million, he was a $100,000 earner, so he needed at least $1 million for that. So he was like, oh my God, I didn't look at all that. Right, he didn't look at all of that. He didn't look at all the things that his family needs for that lifestyle to remain. What happens is the lifestyle changes. Have y'all seen people like that? The lifestyle changed when somebody dies. This is why it changed. Because they didn't pay for that car, and that car's still sitting in the yard and can't nobody get it. It's just sitting there. Or the house, they moved out of the house about to fall down. Because it's in probate. Why? Because they didn't have nothing to do with it. So that's what we have to make sure we know with life insurance. If you click the next one, it says life insurance is leaving tax-free cash to the next generation. You don't have to pay taxes on that money. I have $1.5 million on me. When I die, my family gets $1.5 million. If I can't pay it, my children will pay it. Why? Because that goes to our family. $1.5 million. Okay, it's cash to the next generation. If you hit the cash back, there you go. Hit the next one. There you go. All right. So $1,000 is what you need to have in your account. You need to maintain at least $1,000 in your account, so then you don't have to be, if life happens, as Pastor was talking about earlier, if life happens, now you don't have to depend on a credit card, Amscot, or Mama Nim. Isn't that how we do it when life happens? Refrigerator go on the blink, you ain't got no money, you gotta go to the credit card. Credit card companies know there ain't nothing in your wallet. That's why they say, what's in your wallet? They know ain't nothing in your wallet. They play that game with you. Now, if you're not managing and have the discipline, see, she was telling you, manage with the discipline, don't mess with the credit card. I had a gentleman in the back said, no, I can't increase my own. That's right, he know himself. He cannot increase his own. So you can't just take what everybody say. You gotta know what God is saying to you about that situation. Some of us can't do like our first lady do, because we ain't got the discipline that she has. See, she got the makeup to do that. Her and her husband been doing this for a while, so they can do that. Now, if I my early years, child, please, I couldn't do that. No way. Why? Because I was not disciplined enough to do that. So you got to know yourself too. You got to know yourself. But the gentleman in the back, that's what he said. He said, I know I couldn't do that. No, because you know yourself. But you need at least $1,000 in your savings account so that you can take care of any life-happening things. Now, some of you all, if your income is a little higher, you should probably be maintaining maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000 in those accounts so that you can maintain your household if anything goes wrong. The next one, do you have 6 months of your income tucked away? Six months of your income, 3 to 6 months. We should have, because the pandemic showed us who we were. When the pandemic hit, a lot of folks was out of their house, they couldn't eat, they was in trouble. I taught my clients way back when, you need to save 6 months of your income before you start your retirement plan. Because you got to take care of up front first, then you take care of the back. But if you take care of the back first, if you took care of retirement and then you needed some money right now, if you take it out and you're not 59 and a half, you want to pay taxes on that money. But if you have saved your 6 months, now you start working on your retirement. Okay, so life happens. I call it now laters. Y'all remember now laters? We're going to enjoy life now and what? Later. Right, we're not waiting just later now, because I had a client that was waiting later. He died. Well, he wasn't my client. It was a client was telling me about him. He saved all his money for later. First day in retirement, he stepped out the door, cleaned his pool, fell and bumped his head and died. He enjoyed what? Nothing. No, we're going to enjoy life now and later. Now, when you enjoy life now and later, then when you want to retire? I don't never want to retire. I'll retire when Jesus comes. Because I still do. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying life. So I don't have to wait till I'm 90 years old before I can enjoy life. I'm enjoying life now. That's what he wants you to. He come that you might have life and have it what? That's right. He wants you to enjoy it when? Now and later. But you got to be managed and you got to be disciplined. Manage and be disciplined. Okay? Go back and hit the money bag. Can you hit the money bag? There you go. Okay, hit it again. There you go. All right, hit the next one. Now, this is something I want you all to always see and always remember. This is called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 says whatever interest rate you're getting on your money, it'll tell you how long it takes your money to double. If you click it again, if you had 10,000 in at 3%, it doubles every 24 years. Is that a long time? Okay, if the bank giving you 0.03%, that means it's going to take 2,400 years before that money doubles. Is that a long time? Yes. Another 24 years, click it again. That's what it'll be. Okay? If you put it in an annuity, a guaranteed annuity, or a CD, something that's fixed at 6%, 6 divided by 72 is 12. Go ahead and click it. That's what it'll look like. So if you got it in the bank or in an insurance policy or an annuity at 3 to 6%, well, where do you think they get their money from to give you? Huh? Well, how they give you money? How they give you the interest? Where the interest come from?
From your own money.
No, that's called Ponzi. Ponzi scheme is I take your money and give it to her and call it interest. That's a Ponzi scheme. That's against the law. Yeah, but people do that. Y'all heard people doing that. People really doing that around the church too. They say, well, I'm gonna give her money to her, then she'll give her money to him, and then your time gonna come, keep giving your money, and your time gonna come. That's called Ponzi. That's against the law. You can't do that. Where do the bank get the money? They take the money to the market. Everything begin and end in the stock market, y'all. Everything. They tell you, oh, your money ain't, you don't put no money out there. But just give you the history on the market is that only one person can invest in the stock market before the 20s. White males. They're the only one can invest. And then the woman came up, the white woman came and said, Women's League said, we want to be able to do that too. And then they gave them an opportunity to do it. But we couldn't do it as black people because we were property. So we never could do it. So they scare us away from the market. They say, you don't want that. You remember how you when I talk about Thanksgiving, when I get a good meal, and somebody else want to get it, they're like, if it's good, I'm like, you don't want none of that. Why? Because I want it all for myself. Well, that's what they tell you about the stock market. You don't want to go out there. You'll lose all your money. I always tell my client, I say, who you know lost all their money? They say, nobody. That's right. You listen to they say. Who is they? You can't tell them, can you? No, sure can. Right. So somebody got to how they make money is by putting it in the market. So they put it in the market, getting 12 to 40% on the money, 12 divided by 72. If you click it, that's what it'll look like. That's how much money they have. That last number is $2.5 million for those who can't see. $2.5 million that they will have of your money. They use your money, make more money, give you dust. They don't even give you no money no day. This day, none. Dust. Well, I teach my clients to go to a mutual fund so that they can do likewise. If you click the next one, okay, a mutual fund, I don't deal with all of the other different types of funds, and I deal with the simple one called a mutual fund. Put it in a mutual fund. We ain't trying to get rich overnight. We're just going to slowly prod and we're going to get there. We ain't going to be trying to gamble and all that. We got to get that 6 months saved first in a mutual fund. So if you click the next one and you click the next one. Okay, now this should be learned in school. Thank God. Even though you might not agree with the government said that everybody that graduates from high school got to have financial literacy. They got to be financially literate. The Lord had one of my clients to call me and say, Chad, you need to throw your hat in the ring because they got a work group and they need somebody to be on the work group, but they ain't telling nobody, but it closes next Friday. That day, I sent mine in. Well, I got 34 years of experience. I'm an author of financial literacy. They could not deny me. I'm the only black person on the deal. When I went up to Tallahassee, we created the books for the kids. I wanted to make sure that they don't leave our kids out. I said, before you teach, You got to learn what community you in. If you're in an affluent community, I know you're going to teach this way. But if you're in a not affluent community, you got to teach this way. Because our kids might not be eating lunch or don't have nothing to eat at home. They're thinking about that. Where the affluent ones, they already know a lot of the stuff. I go to the high school. When I go to high school, I go to the, like I went to Jones, they love it. Because they're like, oh man, I ain't never heard that. I go to Lake Mary, all of them knew everything I was talking about.
Okay, that rock iron race.
They knew all of that. See, so I wanted to make sure that they put in those books that our kids you got to teach our kids the way they need to be taught about finance. Don't be talking to them over their head, talking about stuff that they don't understand. You got to go right. So we did a psychology of how the teachers can teach the kids so that they can't never leave these kids out. Can't never leave them out. So I was just happy for that because we always say to them, we say we should have learned this in high school. Well, now we are. Okay, click the next one. And click the next one. All right, go to the next one. Okay, now let's explain a mutual fund. So you'll understand it's very simple. Click it. A mutual fund, click it, is what we have as a professional money manager investing in many different companies. These are companies that we frequent all the time. Okay, and if you click it again, these are stocks. Click it again. 300 different stocks. Keep clicking again. They started doing this in 1924. Click it again. And you get 9 to 12%. That's what it's been doing since 1924. Okay, click it again. And it's diversified. That means your money is safe. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. What you're doing is you're giving a professional money manager the opportunity to put your money in many different companies and not in just one. If you put your money in one company and that company go out of business, you lose all your money. If you click it, that means that company go out of business, well, he got another company. Click it again. He got another company. Click it again. Company go out of business. Click it again. There's another company on the right. So you don't lose all your money. If you click it again, this is changed. You got a professional money manager that managing for you. Very simple. Don't get complicated. Don't worry about if it's making 40% or 50%. I say all I need is 10%. If we can get 10% on our money, because that's what the market been doing since 1865. If we get 10% on our money, we all right. Okay, because you're going to do good. And that's what I teach my retirees. Don't worry about all of that. Don't be chasing after no money. We don't chase money. Money chase us. Because we God's children, right? That's right. Okay, next one. I said, so it's liquid. You can take it out when you need. Go ahead. You can use it you can go all those. You can use it for 6 months income. You can use it for college, buying a new home, buying a new car, and rental property. Stop right there. Okay? You can use this. You can use a mutual fund for all of these things. When you leave your job, you can roll it over, roll the money over into the mutual fund as an IRA. With a new car, I help young people move out of their mama house. I help them move out of their house. I got one guy that I'm working with now. He in mama house. I said, okay, you want a car? He said, yep. I said, how much you want to pay on that car? He said, $400. I said, okay, we're gonna take $400 a month, put it in your mutual fund. I said, how much you gonna pay in rent? It can't be more than 30% of what you earn. Never go beyond your means. 30% of what you earn. So he said, it's gonna be, I think it was $1,300. We're gonna take that and put it in the mutual fund. So he's gonna be saving his money while he's staying with mom. And he's getting accustomed to making the payment. So when he moves out, like my niece stayed with me, we did the same thing for her. When she moved out, in 1 year, she had $10,000 to move out. And she never came back again. She only come back to visit. That's why the children can't leave. We ain't helping them. You gotta help them leave. Help them leave. Okay, go to the next. I'll tell you what, hit that IRA rollover. Click IRA rollover, that'll take you back. All right, now this is another thing that we need to do is have money in the house. You need money in the house, on average $500. Why? Because hurricane come, grandmama always say, you say, grandma, where's that money? She say, go look under that porch, move that thing, watch your hand. Why? Because see, she had money in a secured place in the house for extreme emergency. That's why you need that $500. Grandma knew what we were talking about. The next one, you need to give to organizations on a regular basis. We talked about that earlier, okay? You gotta give, and you gotta give as God moves in your heart, as First Lady really told you all how to do that. Okay, you go according to what God is telling you in your heart, that's what you do, okay? The next one is vacation. You need a vacation how many times a year?
All of them.
How many times? At least. Now, you might go on more than that, but you need two because you got to reboot. You got to reboot. And a vacation means getting away from your regular occupation or whatever you're doing for 5 days, not 3. 3, you say, man, I need another vacation. You ain't even ready yet. But when you do 5, psychologically, in your psyche, you say, I'm good. Now I'm ready to go. I can go back to work. I can go back to doing what I was doing. So you got to do 5. Now, as y'all heard Pastor, he said it was 7 and 9, right? Because y'all did two to travel, and then y'all did 7 there, right? So that's what a vacation is. Now, you might can't do what they do, but you can go to the hotel Holiday Inn up the street and stay there for 5 days. So you don't try to be like Pastor now if you ain't got Pastor money. Y'all follow me? But you still got to do vacation, but you can't do it like he do it. Okay? You can't, y'all follow what I'm saying? What we trying to do is trying to wait to get like Pastor, you never get there. That's the way I was. I was trying to wait until a lot of my colleagues get there, and I was missing out on life. No, do it the way that God is telling you to do it, and you use what you have and do it. Okay? The next one, you need to treat yourself at least once a month. At least. Ladies, go get the hair done. Get them nails done. You want the long eyelashes? Go do it. He said, I don't want that. Okay, gentlemen, you can go to the football game. You ain't got to watch it on TV. Go. You can go. Well, now one thing with mothers, a lot of times mothers lose themselves because they're taking care of everybody else. So that's why the husband has to tell the wife, listen, baby, go do you. Why? Because then she began to understand who she is, because she would lose herself in all of the things she's doing. We're talking about husband, being a wife, being a mama, being a taxi cab driver. You're doing all those things, and you find yourself losing yourself. But taking care of yourself helps you to know who you are. So it's very important. The next one, family attorney. I was just talking to one of my clients on my way. This is something that we definitely need to know. You need to have a family attorney because we need to make sure all our stuff is in order. If you die today, if your real estate is not ladybird deed to someone or somebody else is on the deed, then that money, that house got to go into probate. And if it goes in probate, the family will have to pay money, so it stays in probate, and that's why our community is looking like it's looking, because they don't have the money to get it out of probate. But in the state of Florida, it's called a ladybird deed. A ladybird deed means that somebody if I'm the single, and I say I want Tamia to be on my ladybird deed. When I die, her name goes on the deed. She don't have nothing to do with my house now because I'm not dead. But once I die, her name automatically goes on the deed. So then I don't have to take that through probate. It's called a ladybird deed. Only 5 states give you that opportunity, in the state of Florida give you one. Okay, that's something that you need to take up with an attorney. It's only $150 to do the paperwork. But it's going to cost you $5,000 if you didn't do it, because it's going to go to probate. That's $5,000. Which one you like, 150?
Yeah, 150.
150. Okay, the next one. Okay, how do you feel about your credit? One thing God showed me is your credit is your character.
Yes, sir.
Your credit is your character. How you get money from somebody and how you pay them back. If you ain't paying them back, you say, oh yeah. He said, a borrower is a servant to the lender. And what that means is the servant to the lender means that if you borrow from me, I say, give me $100 a month. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to serve me. It doesn't mean that you can't borrow. He's just saying, when you do borrow, remember you're a servant to that one that you borrowed it from. What we try to do is say, oh, I don't need no debt. No, he's telling you that. If he told you that, then he would have told the children of Israel not to borrow from the Egyptians. He told them to borrow from the Egyptians, and then he canceled that debt when he drowned the Egyptians. Hello? So God ain't nothing wrong with that, but he was just telling you, if you borrow, you're a servant to them. So I'm going to pay them what they're asking for. If I'm not paying them what they're asking for, then I'm not being a good servant. And if I'm not being a good servant, my credit is looking bad. That's why I always ask my client, what's your credit score? They say 500. I said, okay. That means we got some work to do, don't we? Yeah, we sure do. Yeah, because they ain't been doing what they're supposed to do. When they say 700, 720 is your magic number. You at 720, you good. That's what you should be looking like. So it challenged me. I was at 500. I was at 500, y'all. Now I'm close to 800. Because it's only because when I charge some things up to pay it off, it hits my credit. So it'll go back the way it's supposed to go. But that's a whole nother day. Okay, so but credit is very important, okay? The last one is family and friends. Family and friends can sure enough mess you up if you don't pay attention. Your family and friends will have you doing stuff you shouldn't do. Like I did stuff like bought a house that I couldn't afford because I'm trying to impress my family. Because I'm running my own business and I could not afford that house. But I bought the house and I lost the house. So you got to be mindful of family and friends, okay? Click it. Now, this is one thing that I did not know and I want you all to know and never forget it. It's called the Parkinson's Law of Money. The Parkinson's Law of Money. In 1955, Parkinson did a study and he found out what we do with money. The more money we make, the more money we spend.
Yes, sir.
We spend nature. That's our natural instinct is to spend. That's our flesh. It says spend. We naturally will do that. Okay? You can look it up. You can go to YouTube and they got it on there. He did two of them. He did money and he did time. Parkinson's money and time is the same. If you don't tell money what to do or time what to do, it'll get away from you. Right? Okay. Now, God told us to be good managers. Those are the two things we must manage here on earth. Time and money. Okay, next one. That's why when people get a raise, they don't know what happened to it. It's gone. They're like, dog, what happened to my raise? Because the more money we have, the more money we spend. The next one. Another one is you pay a car note off, and then you're like, man, that was $500. Where's the $500? Parkinson's Law got it. Because the more money you have, the more money you spend. Hit the next one. You staying with a relative to save the rent, never save the rent. Why? Because you're using that money now. Now you're using that money. Okay, the next one. That's why 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. 78% of full-time workers are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't care if you Shaquille O'Neal, football player, basketball player, doctors, lawyers. I've had them all sit in my office crying because they live in check to check. They check is just, there's a lot of zeros that they waiting on. See, you're waiting on a few zeros, but they waiting on a lot of zeros. So some football players wait till that, when they get paid that Friday, they waiting on that check because they got bills to pay. So they live in check to check. So I said, Lord, well, what's the problem? He said, it ain't the problem, it's the principle. You got to know the principle. If you don't know the principle, I don't care how many zeros you got behind your name. That's what I told y'all. I was trying to out-earn my ignorance. No matter how much I got, I had a hole in my cup, so it's going to keep running out. So no matter how much I put in it, it's going to keep running out. So that's what most people are doing. Now, if you click the next one, it's talking about the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers understood a law. The law of gravity said what goes up comes down. But they found out how to beat the law of gravity. How they beat the law of gravity is by the law of lift. That's how you can fly a plane in the air. They identified the law of lift. Do you eliminate the law of gravity? No. But do you supersede the law of gravity? Yes. Now, click the next one. So how we found out how you beat it. It is so simple. I was like, Lord, why ain't know this long time ago? Because you wasn't ready. I said, okay. All right, click it. You got to save, click, immediately with a purpose. That's the key. Purpose. If your money don't have a purpose, it leaves your hands quickly. When your money got a purpose, it stays there. How many of y'all broke a 20 and you don't know what happened to it? Because it had no purpose, right? You know how you break that 20, you be like, oh man, I thought I had, what happened? It's gone. Because it had no purpose. So my strategy is very simple. If you click that. Go ahead. Click again. 10% of your money, every time you get paid, 10% of your money should be in a share account. As Mama said earlier, she got a tithing account. That money is already set aside for the Lord. Okay? Hit it again. 10% of your money is for the play account. Now, First Lady said she called it a leisure account. But it has a name. What is that name that you see on the screen? Play. Okay? Next one. 20% goes into your priority account. Okay? We ain't at bills yet. Priority. What I'm doing is I'm giving you purpose to money, right? Once I give you the purpose to money, because Pastor, he told y'all 4 accounts. Everybody should have these 4 accounts. Everybody. I don't care who you are. If you got money, you bring in their money, 4 accounts. Next, 60% goes to bills. Okay? This is how you should be looking. Okay? You should have 4 accounts. Now, let's say it's time to go to church, and pastor say, okay, it's time for us to give the offering. Which one are you going to take that money out of? It's time to give your tithe. Where you going to get the money from? Share. Okay. Well, we want to go to Tahiti. Where you going to get the money from? Play. Well, my light bill, I can't pay my light bill, and they get ready to cut my lights off, and I ain't got no money in my bill money. Where you going to get the money from? Priorities. I didn't even have to teach you that. You did it on your own because it had purpose. Now that priority goes to vast. That's the vast number. Where you talk about your short-term investments, your long-term investment, you building your $1,000 that you don't have, building that 6 months that you don't have. Now you can start buying rental property. You can start doing all kinds of things you want to do through that 20%. So you only touch it if it's a what? Priority. So your brain does that. If you don't tell your brain what to do, the brain ain't gonna do it. You say it's a rainy day account. It rain every day. It's a savings account. Well, if I want to go to get me a nice dress, I go get me a dress card, that's a savings account. So it don't have no purpose. What money without a purpose leaves your hands quickly. Money is like wild horses. If you don't corral them, they're gonna get away from you. The fence that you corral them with is called purpose. As Pastor clearly said, you might start at 4, you might come up with 10. Like we got about 12 in our account. Because we got 12 different purposes. So whatever purpose you got, you need to have an account for. But these are the 4 basic purposes of every person in this room. These are the basic purposes that you need to have money. Now, if you had a play account, this is where I had a guy came and he delivered my lectures to my office, and I showed him and I gave him a book. And he said, man, this would save my marriage. I said, what do you mean? If I had a play account, then my wife was shopping, then I hadn't to worry about my bills. He was worried about the bills. The first lady just told you all. That's a play account that she has, that she does. Pastor ain't worried about that. Because I say to my family, spend it fast, spend it slow, spend it all, ain't no more. Get it in that account. If it ain't no more in that account, you got to wait to get some more money before we can fill that account up again. So then that'll help you to curb your appetite for spending beyond your means. It curbs it. And then you got to be disciplined to go buy it. You got to have integrity. Integrity means that you got to do what that thing says. You can't go and share the Lord's money with somebody else going to buy you a dress. You say, oh, I'm going to convocation, so I'm going to get it out of this share account. Wrong. That's not integrity. That's not integrity. When you have integrity, you manage, you discipline, have integrity, I'm telling you all, it changed our life. You might can't live like Oprah Winfrey. You can't live like Tyler Perry and all the famous people, but you can live like you. You got to learn to be content what God is doing for you. Amen. So what this does is teach you how to be content at what God does for you. So in my book, this is what I teach. Now, some people can't do 60%, because some of you all might go home and you count on your bills. It ain't 60, it might be 90. Well, if it's 90%, well, you're going to have to do, that go 10. You want to figure out something to get some play in. You're going to have to figure out something to get some priority in, because you got to keep feeding them, because they like little kids. If you don't feed them, they die. And if they die, you die financially. These 4 got to be fed every time. So you got to figure out a way of doing it every time. So it might be, I had one client I had to do 10, well, see, they wasn't saved, so they wasn't in the church. So I said 1, 1, 5. And then the rest of the money goes for bills. They did 1, 1, 5. The lady said, she came back and she was just crying because she said, I only had $5, but it felt good that I could go to the dollar store and buy me something for myself. I said, praise the Lord. See, we become light to the world. See, the world trying to tell us, and we supposed to be telling them. Now this young lady starts saying, well, what you know about that? Because I'm always going to be ministering. What you know about that? Now you can talk to them. Because they be looking at us and they say, you ain't got nothing. See a poor man cry in the city, ain't nobody listening. If you ain't got nothing, nobody listening. A rich man can say the same thing. That boy Weezy, he's so crazy self. He got so much money, he can say anything. Everybody like, yeah, you right. Why? Because he got money. Well, we supposed to be that way in the church. If we manage and do, and what's the next one? Discipline. That's all. That's all God called us to do. Manage and we be disciplined. If you click the last one, that is my book. That's the book that I wrote. The same simple principles I just taught you all. I also teach you how to teach your children. Taught my kids at 9 and 7. Taught them how to manage money. It's an audio book. We also have book on demand. I mean, if you want to go on there, you get a 90-day. You want to get 90 days to get financially healthy, then you can go. You can click on there and you can do that too. If anybody wants to get a book, I do have books available. All you have to do is fill out the survey, answer a few questions on the survey, and we'll give you a book today if you like a book. Okay, but I'm telling you, it changed my life. Is that pretty simple, guys? Yeah.
Man, let's get into it. If you want to discuss any money moves, that's the dude to talk to. That full disclosure that he is my financial advisor, and we have been working on a plan. My money goes straight to a mutual fund. I don't even see it, y'all. So it worked. Okay, be disciplined and just stay on it. It works. Okay, so right now we're just going to close up. Thank you guys for coming, and I hope you've been blessed today.
You have the mindset for success. If you're looking for positivity,